Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to take a look at the Pokémon TCG deck that just went and won the biggest tournament ever. Now, I'm gonna double check the numbers on this, but I'm fairly sure this was literally the biggest tournament ever. We think 1,000 person regionals are a big deal. The Yokohama Champions League had 2 flights of, I think, 1,600 people. Which means we're talking like 3,000 plus players. So it seems like around about 3,000 to 3,200 players, which is absolutely absurd. And what went and won the whole thing? Giratina. It's quite funny because when something like Lost Origin comes out, everybody goes and has a look. And some people instantly declare Giratina to be the best thing ever, the best deck they've ever seen in their entire lives. And a bunch of other people go completely counter and go, it's overrated, it's not that good, it's never going to win anything. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's not overrated, it is that good, it's already gone and won something. Giratina is that good, and quite frankly, it's time to start taking Giratina very, very seriously, because this entire deck that just went and won over in Japan, I'm pretty sure it's all out. And if they've made any mistakes, I'll let you know as we go through the video. This isn't, and don't get me wrong, Incandescent Arcana was legal for the tournament, but it doesn't seem like the winning deck actually played any cards from Incandescent Arcana. So if you want to go, hey, what won that gigantic 3,000 plus person tournament in Japan? I'm going to play that. You literally already can, ladies and gentlemen. You already can. So starting off with Giratina then, what we've got is a 280 HP Pokemon V-Star with no weakness. Already a very good start. Free energy, 280, but you have to put 2 energy attached to your Pokemon in the Lost Zone. Any of your Pokemon, not necessarily this one. And yes, that is enough to get a one-hit KO on Pokemon V-Star, which is a huge deal because most Pokemon V-Star cannot one-hit you right back. And then for 2 energy, Star Requiem, you can use this attack only if you have 10 or more cards in the Lost Zone. Instant KO on your opponent's active Pokemon. No ifs, buts, or maybes. Instant KO on your opponent's active Pokemon. It's a little bit ridiculous. And even Giratina V's got some useful attacks. Single colorless energy, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, put 2 of them in your hand, put the others in the Lost Zone. Useful for consistency, and also for filling up your Lost Zone, which as we've seen you need to do. And then free energy, 160, not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. Basically, if they've got a Pokemon which is looking to block you in some way, Miltank as an example, what you can actually do is then come out with this, and then just hit right through anything like a Miltank that would otherwise be blocking you, which is potentially actually kind of a big deal, although we do have other options. Now, the real engine for this deck is Comfy. That's where we're going here. And there are 4 copies of Comfy, and as we're going to see in a moment, there are a whole bunch of switching cards that will allow you to switch your active Pokemon a lot to potentially get multiple uses of Comfy going in one turn. And what we've got is an ability that is a mini Giratina V attack. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active slot, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one in your hand, put the other one into the Lost Zone. Cool. I like this. And like I've said, you'll be using this hopefully multiple times a turn. Great for consistency, and great for getting cards in the Lost Zone, which you're going to need. Yes, there will be games where you have an impossible choice and you have to Lost Zone a card you want. Otherwise, this is great. And that is largely the deck. Giratina V-Star and Comfy. Using Giratina to attack, Comfy as your consistency. But there are some other very useful Pokemon as well. So the Cramorant, and all these cards so far are all Lost Origin. The Cramorant from Lost Origin is sneaky very good. If you've got 4 cards in the Lost Zone, you do 110 damage for free. Now, it's not affected by weakness, so you're not hitting weakness regardless. But 110 damage for 0 energy, which means if your opponent's got small, weak Pokemon in the active, as long as you've got 4 cards in a Lost Zone, and that can happen pretty quickly with this deck, You're attacking for free, which means you can then use your energy attachment for the turn on something like a Giratina. If you can get a couple of cheeky attacks off a Cramorant while you're building up the first Giratina, job's a good un. We've also got one copy of Sableye. Sableye is another ridiculous card. You do have to have 10 cards in the Lost Zone, but you then put 12 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. And that could be taking KOs on weak Pokemon. It could be bringing big Pokemon into range. So Giratina VSTAR KOs Pokemon VSTAR, but not VMAX. Sableye can actually bring 2 of them into range of Giratina. So you drop 6 in 2 different places with Sableye and finish them off with Giratina. It's a little bit nuts. Your Radiant Pokemon of choice here is Radiant Greninja. Discard an energy from your hand, draw 2 cards. It's more consistency, which is very important because this deck you need to get rolling. Here's the thing though. This deck actually plays water energy so that you can use the attack on Radiant Greninja. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 90 to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And the deal here is super simple. If your opponent chooses not to play Manaphy, you are going to be able to do a whole bunch of damage. And as we're going to see in a moment, this is not some pie-in-the-sky attack that'll work once every 4 or 5 games. This is a legitimate attacking threat, as well as being a really nice draw engine. And then we've just got one Luminion V for the ability that lets you go and grab a supporter card. Nice. Not too bad, ladies and gentlemen. Not too bad. Actually, I lied to you. There is one more card here we've got, which is Oranguru. Another card which is extremely useful. One that has been played in just a ridiculous amount of decks, well, ever since it came out. And that was in Sword and Shield base. So it's been out for a while now and is still proving to be a phenomenal card. And it's got an ability that lets you swap the top card of your deck with a card in your hand. Now, this can do a bunch of things, it's added consistency, etc. But one cheeky little thing you can do with this is put a card you know you don't need on top of your deck, so that when you use Giratina V's attack or Comfy's ability, you're actually then lost zoning a card that you want to lost zone, which is a nice little interaction you can pull off here. So we've got Giratina as your main attacker, Cramorant as your early game / taking out weak Pokemon attacker, Sableye for dropping damage counters, and Greninja for taking out potentially 2 weak bench Pokemon. And then your engine is basically Comfy and Greninja, with then your Luminion and your Oranguru to come in and help. Now, in terms of energy, you are playing a mixture of Grass and Psychic, because Giratina needs a mixture of Grass and Psychic. But you've also got free water energy here. And the deal is extremely simple. You've got a card here in Radiant Greninja which needs water energy, but then Giratina doesn't really care what energy it uses. It doesn't really matter. Like, there is a colorless energy in there. So it's 1 Grass, 1 Psychic, 1 anything. That can be a water. So, yeah, it's just amazing. Oh, and I should mention there are a couple copies there of Capture Energy. It's a colorless energy that lets you search for a basic Pokemon and bench it. Really useful just for making sure you've got everything you need, grabbing yourself an extra Comfy if you're still trying to get set up, or grabbing yourself a Giratina or something along those lines. It's not exactly the biggest card in the deck, I think it's fair to say, but it's still a very, very useful card nonetheless. Now, in terms of getting the deck rolling, the card we're really going for here is Mirage Gate. Mirage Gate is one of the reasons why this deck actually works. It is a trainer card that can only be played if you've got 7 cards in the Lost Zone. Again, it's why you need to be spamming Comfy early. But then you search your deck for 2 basic energy of different types and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So for Greninja, you can grab a water and something else, attach for the turn, use the attack straight away. For Giratina, you can grab a Grass and a Psychic and something else then from your hand, and then all of a sudden you're using this right away. This is why Giratina isn't too expensive. Without this, Giratina's too expensive and it's awkward, but with Cramorant to buy time in the early game and then Mirage Gate to come out as soon as your Lost Zone is full, you are rolling. And to be fair, there's only a free card in the Lost Zone difference between Cramorant and Mirage Gate anyway. This is kind of ridiculous. Seriously, this is absolutely preposterous in terms of how good the deck is. Now, there are some other Lost Zone-centric cards which are pretty important here. Chorus's Experiment is played as a 4-of. It is your main Lost Zone supporter. It's a main supporter in the deck, to be honest with you. Because what it lets you do is it lets you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and 3 of them go into your hand, and the other 2 go into the Lost Zone. So hopefully here you can find a couple cards that aren't that important. They go in the Lost Zone. So you're getting 3 cards, and you're getting 2 cards into the Lost Zone all at the same time. This is extremely important. And then honestly, a lot of the rest of the deck looks pretty much like you would expect. In terms of our Pokemon search here, it is a little bit less than we would like, because we're using Battle VIP Pass. Unlike a lot of top tier decks have started doing nowadays, they have gone full Battle VIP Pass, 4 of those, because getting out your basics in the early game is too important. After that, we got 2 copies of Quick Ball and 1 copy of Ultra Ball to get your basic Pokemon, or in the case of Ultra Ball, any Pokemon. But it really is just there to try and make sure that you've got that little bit of extra search. This is a deck which is really relying on Battle VIP Pass on turn 1 to really get all of your basics out. And then the Pokemon as a whole are consistent enough that the deck should run from there. We've got ourselves, in terms of switching, 4 Scoop Up Net to get your Pokemon out of the active. Well, your non-V Pokemon, but outside of Giratina and Luminion, they're all non-V. We've then got 2 Switch, and 2 Escape Probe, and 1 Air Balloon, because like I've said, especially on those early turns, you want to be using Comfy multiple times to get completely set up, and to make sure you got enough cards in the Lost Zone for all of your cards to fire quite nicely. We've got ourselves an Ordinary Rod, which will get back your Pokemon and your basic energy from the discard pile, if you ever need them to. We've got a copy of Tool Jammer that you attach to one of your Pokemon, and it stops opponents' active Pokemon's tools having effects. And this is actually really quite big, because there are plenty of things out there. Let's take as an example Radiant Charizard. Really good Pokemon that can hit 250 and get a KO on something like a Giratina. But to hit 250, it needs to have a Choice Belt. If you've got a Tool Jammer attached, then Charizard can't use Choice Belt, and that means Charizard doesn't get a KO. That's just one example, but that's the kind of thing we're looking at here, turning off those tools to stop your opponent getting key KOs and things of that nature. We've then got Energy Recycler, just to get a bunch of your basic energy from the discard back into your deck, for if you're ever going to need to. Doesn't work if they're Lost Zone, but it does get them back quite nicely. And then in terms of other supporters, we've got 1 Marnie. That's both players shuffle their hands and put them at the bottom of the deck. You get 5 cards, your opponent gets 4. Bit of disruption and a bit of draw power. There is a copy of Roxanne here that will put your opponent down to a 2-card hand if they've taken half their prizes, while giving you a 6-card hand, which is kind of amazing, honestly. Super annoying, but, you know, for them, kind of awesome for you. And then 2 Boss's Orders, because it's Gusting. Obviously, every deck is going to play Gusting. Here is the list as a whole, and you can see it's pretty streamlined. Like, in terms of the Pokemon line, it all makes perfect sense. And although, like, the Pokemon search looks a bit low, that's because Battle VIP Pass and then all your Pokemon are doing the work for you. And then you've got 4 Chorus's Experiment, 4 Scoop Up Net, 4 Mirage Gate. All of this is to try and make sure the deck runs super smoothly. And given that it won a tournament of this magnitude, I think it's fair to say that, yeah, this probably did run pretty gosh darned well. So if anybody was wondering, hey, that Giratina, is it legit or is it overhyped? No, it's absolutely legit. It is not overhyped. And get ready to play against Giratina constantly. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the deck, and now it's over to you guys. What do you think about this? Do you think it's going to be any good? Is it here to last, or is it a flash in the pan? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games and all kinds of fun things. And do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get weekly bonus pods where I answer all of your questions, where you can join a Discord and chat with us, and of course where I give shout outs to people like the lovely Edgar Menares, who has been a supporter of ours for a while now, so thank you to Edgar for being a lovely person and for all the support. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.